Hi everybody and welcome back. In the next videos we're talking all about Ormus. So first let's cover what Ormus is and what it does and what this whole story is, and then in the next video we'll look at how to make it. So firstly, what is Ormus? Ormus stands for orbitally rearranged monoatomic elements. Okay? Single atoms with its electron shell or electron cloud rearranged so that all the electrons are bonded internally within the atom. They don't bond to other things, they're all locked up inside. Ormus shares a property of having its electrons arranged like this with superconductors, and it might in fact be a room temperature superconductor that everyone working in the 0-point energy field and alternate technology has been looking for all this time. There are 12 elements that have an Ormus state. So cobalt, nickel, copper, rhodium, ruthenium, palladium, silver, osmium, iridium, platinum, gold and mercury. Okay, 12 elements, they all have different properties. Nobody really knows what the properties are. They do all kinds of strange, crazy things. They've been reported to levitate on magnetic fields, to transfer electrical flow and ion energy flow, which we'll come to later. They will disappear in the presence of UV light. They will disappear in the presence of strong electromagnetic fields. When you heat them up and cool them down, they'll change mass, they'll change from one element to another, they'll do all kinds of crazy stuff. All of this needs to be researched thoroughly. What we're looking at the moment is the effect on plants and people and biochains. Ormus is naturally occurring. You don't actually have to make Ormus. All you have to do is gather it or extract it or harvest it. There are processes where you can take metals and convert them into the Ormus state, and you can take Ormus and convert it back into the metal state. This is not out there in the public domain. There are very few people who know how to do this, and it's not generally shared. There are one or two teams, Blue Water Alchemy included, who can test their Ormus and can flip it from the monoatomic state back into the metal state to have a look at the composition of what they've produced or what they've gathered. We're not going to go through all of that now, and we're not going to go into details on refining it and playing around with it. It really isn't necessary. What we need to look at is, how do you capture and gather this stuff? The most commonly used process is the wet method, where Ormus is extracted from salt and then turned into a product that you can buy or you can make yourself. It was originally discovered or rediscovered in the 1970s by Dr. David Hutchinson in Arizona. Dr. Hutchinson was an agricultural chemist who specialised in converting arid land into usable arable farmland. At the end of his career, he decided to take the worst piece of land he could possibly find and apply all of his knowledge to turning this into a fertile area. While he was doing this, he inadvertently caused Ormus to fall out of the rock and the earth in his land and gather in the machinery that he was using to process it. If you want to look at all the actual history of this and the details of this, go to my website and you can read through everything on there. All this information I've compiled from different sources over the years, primarily from Blue Water Alchemy's site, as they are the people who've done the most work in working with and playing with Ormus, but I've packaged it together for you so you can have a good scan through and find out all about it. As far as I can tell, the last time that Ormus was used en masse was actually in ancient Egypt, where it was produced in the Temple of Hathor and the Temple of Isis and introduced into the Nile to produce a fertile valley capable of supporting their massive population. But as I say, if you want to dig into all the history and ins and outs of Ormus, go to the website and have a look. What I want to talk about here is what Ormus is doing in a biochain and in a life chain. Ormus is the antenna, it's the physical bridge between the ethereal world and the physical world. Now when I say the ethereal world, I'm talking about Chi and Reiki, also more commonly known today as the 0-point energy field. It's the bio-life field that surrounds the planet and the ability for living organisms to interact with it. Everything contains an amount of Ormus. If it didn't, you wouldn't have any intuition. Life wouldn't exist on this planet if there wasn't Ormus already present in our system. The problem we're having today is that agriculture and intensive monoculture farming has been stripping the Ormus out of the soil faster than it can naturally be replaced. So not only have our foods become depleted in magnesium and other essential minerals, they've also become depleted in Ormus. And this is why we're starting to struggle on this planet to produce food, and to produce food of a high enough nutritional value to actually support us. The effect of adding Ormus into your garden is to massively boost the productivity of the garden and the strength and health of the plants that are there. You can see this in a following set of videos where we've been introducing Ormus into my friend's garden in Holland. Ormus, or elements in the Ormus state, are produced by the planet in vast quantities. It's estimated that there's over 1,000 times more gold in the Ormus state than there is in the standard metallic state. We just don't recognise it. It doesn't register in machines like spectral analyzers because its electrons are all internally bonded and it isn't bonding to anything else. A spectral analyzer works by breaking the bonds between elements and looking at the bond energy that's released and identifying what it is you have as a sample. So when you put Ormus in a spectral analyzer, it says there's nothing there, or it cannot be analysed or identified. So given that there's a huge amount of it, it's weathered out of the rocks, it enters the water systems, it moves down the stream, and it's then picked up by plants and by animals, by microbes, especially by the microbes, and it's then fed into the biochain. Some of the Ormus has an electron that isn't internally bonded. This electron will bond to a DNA strand or a protein molecule or an enzyme and actually dock into a biosystem. Other pieces of Ormus will then gather around it and create little microclusters which are in the cell and in and around the plant and the organic material. So the best way for us to take Ormus isn't to make a batch of Ormus and start taking spoonfuls of it. It's actually to have an area of land and feed the land the Ormus, allow the natural ecosystem to pick it up in the way that it's designed to do, get it into the plants and eat the plants. Now if you don't have a garden and you're not growing all your own vegetables, you could grow wheatgrass and feed the wheatgrass with the Ormus. The effect of this is to massively increase the growth rate of the grass, so you can harvest your little plot of wheatgrass more often, and then put it into your smoothie and into your juice and take it that way. There is an upside to taking Ormus in the raw, pure form, in that it contains enormous amounts of magnesium hydroxide, and we are magnesium deficient, and the bulk of the ailments and problems that we're suffering from actually come from magnesium deficiency. So making Ormus and taking small doses of it can be very beneficial, but you have to do it in the right way. This we'll cover in the next set of videos. Once the Ormus is in the biochain, it's moving across the landscape and it gets down to the sea. Once it reaches the sea, it actually gets captured by the salts in the sea. It changes form in this point, it changes job, it stops being bioavailable Ormus, resonating at one set of frequencies, and moves into the crystal lattice, the fluid crystal lattice that is our ocean. Salts in the sea, being sodium chloride and magnesium chloride, form little tetrahedral boxes that capture one piece of Ormus inside it. When you take salt that you know as a solid crystal and you put it into water, it dissolves. It disassociates in the water. The sodium ion or magnesium ion travels off in one direction, and the chlorine travels off in another, the chloride. So you have a positive magnesium and sodium and a negative chlorine. It's these little positive boxes that lock around a piece of Ormus and pull it into suspension in the water. So when you're making Ormus, and particularly when you're making it from the wet method, what you're actually doing is adding something to your dissolved salt to unlock this box and drop the piece of Ormus out. Once you've got your Ormus, it needs to be retuned and recharged so that it works in the biochain. Doing that will be covered in the how to make your Ormus section. But if you give a set of different people the same salt and the same reactants and the same space to work in, they will all produce a different quality Ormus, because it picks up their energy and their emotional state as they're making it. So if you're making Ormus in a happy, enlightened, positive, calm space, then that's what your Ormus will resonate with, that's what it will do. If you're making Ormus in a chaotic, stressful, uncoordinated area with too much going on in your head, that is going to get picked up by your Ormus. And I've seen people produce Ormus that is super beneficial to life chains and the biosystem, and produce Ormus that is absolutely lethal to life. So it's very, very important where you're at and how you're interacting with your Ormus and what you're projecting onto your Ormus when you're making it. I know that if I make Ormus and I'm thinking, I'm going to make this to sell and I need to make some money and that is my focus, my Ormus is no good. If I'm making Ormus as a gift to the planet and to the people who are going to use it, I get a much, much higher quality Ormus. Okay, that's enough about Ormus for now. I'm going to go and find another spot with less wind, because it keeps blowing the camera over, and we will go into making your Ormus.